from here and there. We have great football teams like the 72 Dolphins, the 86 Giants, but the one I really focus on, or the 2000, or the 14-2 Jacksonville Jaguars, or the 16-0 or 17-0 Patriots, or the 72. I should have said that, or even the 15-1 Kansas City Chiefs from last year. But out of all teams, some people may know this team as very well, especially if you're a Chicago Bears fan. That's right. We're talking about those 85 Chicago Bears. You might be wondering why I'm bringing them up. Well, there's this one player that has a Hispanic and heritage. You might know him as... His name goes by Rivera. You guys may know him from the 85 Bears roster that went 15-1. Ronald Regine Rivera, born on January 7th, 1962. As an American professional football player, to an executive and a former linebacker back who coaches for a GM for the Carolina Golden Bears. He played 9 seasons in the National Football League for Chicago Bears and was a member of the 85 team that won the Super Bowl 20. Rivera later served as the head coach of the NFL for the Carolina Panthers and the Redskins, technically now the Commanders, earning 2 Coach of the Year and 2 former rewards. This is him in 2022. Him with the Panthers, him with the Redskins, him before I don't know when, and yeah. Position, General Manager. He was born in Fort Oak, California, USA. He's 6 feet and 3 inches. That's basically 1.94 meters. At 235 pounds, which is 107 kilograms. He went to Seaside, California. Went to college at 1980 through 1983. He was second round, 44 pick, linebacker number 59. He played Chicago Bears for 1984 to 1992. And then 5 years later, he did coaching for the Bears through 1997 through 1998 as defense quality control coach. And then in 1999, he became, to 92 out of 3, he became the linebacker coach. And he went back to the Bears again from 2004 to 2006 as defensive coordinator. And then in 2007, he became the linebacker coach for the Chargers. And then once again, became the defensive coach for 2008 to 2010 for the Chargers defensive coach. And then became the head coach the 2011 to 2019. And finally, in 2020 for 2023, so Washington Redskins to the Commanders as head coach. But then he got fired from the NFL. In 2025, he is now officially a California Golden Bear general manager. Super Bowl champion, XXX, Pop Warner Trophy, 1983, defensive player of the year, conscious All-American, We're going to read all that later. His career, 7.5 sacks, 9 interceptions, 6 fumble recoveries, and 1 touchdown. Regular season, 100 wins, 102 wins, 103 losses, and 2 ties, with an average of 483. Postseason, 3 out of 5. Rivera played college football for the Golden Bears, earning the country's All-American honors in 1983. He was selected for the Chicago Bears in the second round of the 1984 draft. Rivera began his coaching career in 1997 as serving as a defensive quality coach for the Chicago Bears. He joined the Philadelphia Eagles as a linebackers coach for 2 years before rejoining the Bears as a defensive coordinator in 2004. The following year, Rivera was the assistant coach for the year of the PFWA and helped the coach linebacker Brian Urlaw, the gang guy that went to the Gators and then went to Jacksonville. P.S. He sucked. Into bringing the Defensive Player of the Year after the Bears made an appearance in the Super Bowl XLV against the Colts. He joined the Chargers as the linebacker coach in the 2007 before promoting to defensive coordinator a year later. After 3 years, Chargers Rivera hired the head coach for the Carolina Panthers, led them to appearance in Super Bowl 50. Surprise, surprise! He faced Peyton Manning twice. First against the Colts with the Bears, and then the Broncos versus the Panthers in Super Bowl 50. At the end, Super 50, and became their near all-time win leader in wins. Rivera was fired near the end of the 2019 season, but became the Washington head coach in 2020. He was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma, which is, I don't know what that is, but I'm not going to read it. In the same year, it was considered cancer-free in the earlier 2021. 2021 was the only coaching job with the losing record, playoffs doing more than once, joining with Carolina in 2014. In Washington in 2015, he was fired by Washington after 2023, and he worked as an analyst for NFL Live before rejoining the Golden Bears for administrator role in 2020. Before we jump into his past, we got to go to his future. Now, Rivera was born on June 7, 1962 on Old Fort, California. His father, Eugenio Rivera, was a Puerto Rican commissioned officer for the U.S. Army stationed in California. Therefore, Eugenio met his future wife, Dolores, who was Mexican and Filipino descent, often moved to Eugenio military service. Rivera had been educated on bases in Germany, Panama, and D.C., and eventually settled to Merida, California, where he played football in C-High football before he graduated in 1980. Coaching career. In 1993, Rivera went to work on GWN TV, which is, I don't know. And Sports Channel Chicago as television analyst. Covered the Bears in college football for 4 years later. He joined the Bears as a defensive quality control coach. In 1999 and 2003, Andy Reid was also the coach at that time, by the way, guys, before he went to the Chiefs. In 1999, Rivera was named the linebackers coach from the Philadelphia Eagles and the new acquired head coach. That's like I said, Andy Reid. During the tenure by the Eagles advanced to the NFC Championship game for 3 consecutive seasons. Rivera also credited with developing linebacker Jeremiah Trotter for the 2 all-time All-Pro. Chicago Bears, 2004, 2006. Rivera was named the defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears on January 23rd, 2004. And in 2005, the Bears defense was rated second in the league with total yardage, with the team winning the Northern Division with 11-5 record before losing to the division round to the Carolina Panthers. For the efforts of that year, Rivera was the assistant coach of the year by Pro Football Writers Association. In 2006, the Bears had the league third-ranked defense in the term points allowed, within helping him advance to Super Bowl XLV. Although the Bears lost to the Indianapolis Colts 29-17, the defense successful earned Rivera recognition among the franchise looking for a new head coach. However, In 2007, it was announced Rivera's contract with the Bears would not expand due to delegation failures. Around the same time, interviewed for several head coach verification around the league, including the Steelers and the Cowboys. Finally, in 2007 through 2010, Rivera was hired by the San Diego Chargers to become their new inside linebacker coach. In February 2007, he was promoted to defensive coordinator after the team fired Ted Corral in December on October 8th. However, in the Panthers in 2011, on January 11th, Rivera was hired to become the fourth head coach of the Carolina Panthers. He was the third Latino in NFL history to become head coach, following Tom Fears and Tom Flores. During his first year, the Panthers went 6-10 in the third in NFC South. In 2012, the Panthers finished 7-9. Finishing the second in the South UFC in South. Fun fact, when the Carolina Panthers were first around, that was their record in 1995. However, his first 2 years at the Panthers, Rivera was known for conversive decision-making journalists with his record of 2-14. Imagine that record for Jacksonville from '99, but flopped. Record in games decided less than touchdowns. Following a 1-3 start in the 2013 points, which suggested that the Panthers were already competent for getting a new coach. As a result, Rivera began making more aggressive decisions. The Panthers went 11-1 to finish their season, including a franchise record 8-game winning streak, to win the NFC South, going 12-4 record, and make the playoffs for the first time since 2008. Since his effort, Rivera was honored as the 2013 AFP NFL Coach of the Year during the early part of the 2013 season. Rivera, given the nickname Riverboat Ron by fans and the media, talking several risky decisions, some previously not attributed to him. The name inspired after the 19th century Oriental gamblers, as Rivera later embraced it for using on his social media profiles. Rivera was known as Cario during Chico, during his playing. I thought that said Chico, like as in Chica the chicken. During his play, during the time with the Chicago Bears. A common practice at the team under the head coach, the one and only, from the 85, Mike Ditka. Rivera received the nickname from defensive coordinator Ryan Buddy, who reminded him of Freddie Fries. That's funny because Freddie Fazbear, and he's coaching the Bears. Get it? In the 7th series, Chico reference. Get it? It's all FNAF references. Chico reference to Chica, and the man. Panthers lost, earned the first bye round, but lost to the 49ers in the divisional round score of 23-10. In 2014, the Panthers recovered from a 3-8-1, starting from its fourth final regular season game with a clinch to the NFC South for the second consecutive year. However, they got defeated by the Arizona Cardinals 27-6. In the wild card round for the first playoffs since 2005, before eventually falling to the NFC Championship Seattle Seahawks on the road 31-17 for the following week. The team's momentum would continue in 2015 as the Panthers produced their best season, finishing 15-1. That's definitely not foreshadowing the Chicago Bears, isn't it? With their only loss being lost to the Atlanta Falcons on the road in Week 16. Rivera was recognized as the 2015 AP Coach Coach of the Year. And second, as honor, the team held to the top seed in the NFC playoffs. And once again, got defeated to the Seahawks, 31-24 during the divisional round, and the Arizona Cardinals 49 to 15 in the NFC Championship, advancing against the Denver Broncos. But once again, Penning Manning got in Rivera's way once again by beating the Panthers. Once again, Penning Manning got in his way, just like he did with the Bears in 2006. The first Super Bowl with both head coaches Rivera Broncos, Gary Canada, previously played in the Super Bowl, and the Panthers lost by the score 24-10 in the game, with both sides' defense dominated. However, in 2016, the Panthers struggled with a 6-10 record and did not even qualify for the playoffs for the first time in 4 seasons. And the Panthers in 2017 had finished a 11 record, but entered the playoffs, but they lost on the road in the wild card in the 31-26 to the New Orleans Saints. Rivera signed a 2-year contract extension for US $115.5 million extension for January 28th. The Panthers finished with a 9-7, foreshadowing their 1995 season, and a 28 season missed the playoffs despite having a 6-2 record. After a 5-7 starting to the 2019 season, Rivera was fired 3 years before my birthday on December 3rd, 2019. After 9 seasons of head coach, owner David Tepper bought the team in 2018. Made a decision to move on from Rivera. He wanted to build his own approach with 4 appearances in total records, with a 79 wins, 67 losses, 1 tie, with a percentage of .541, both which ranked the all-time first in team history. We're about to go back to the past here soon. I'm not reading all that. We'll just fast forward to his personal life, and then we'll get to the Bears. Rivera is a Catholic, has 3 brothers, Stephen, Mickey, and John. He's married to Stephanie Domingo, where he met in California in August 1983 when he played football. Fun fact, they got married in 1984. Stephanie, a Filipino American, was a point guard for the Golden Bears women basketball team in the early 80s. Later served as a coach for the sport, most assisted for the Washington Mystics as the WNBA in 2000. The couple has 2 children, Christopher and Courtney. Courtney has played UCAA softball in the team early in 2010, has been working social media producer under Rivera in California, Washington. Rivera's nephew, Vincent, was hired as a defensive quality control coach in him in Washington in 2020. Rivera's idol growing up was Puerto Rican basketball player Roberto Clemente, who died in a plane crash. If you don't know who he is, he's a famous baseball player, was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1972, but when he was doing a donation, he died in a plane crash. While during liver aid to the victim of the 1972 Nicaragua earthquake. Rivera was inducted to the Hall of Fame of the California Athletics Hall of Fame in 1994. But sadly, on January 5th, 2015, his Charlotte, North Carolina home caught fire and was powerfully damaged. Luckily, Rivera and his family escaped without injury. Rivera was held in charity yard sale after his hiring as Washington head coach in 2020. Rivera's Panthers appealed up merchandise for sales to raise more than $30,000 for Maine for Society for Charlotte. In 2020 of August, Rivera was diagnosed with Smith's lungs with lymph node in his neck. Rivera had family history with cancer. His father, Eugenio, was diagnosed with it while his brother Mickey died from pancreatic cancer in 2015, with his mother Dolores died from lung cancer with 7 years. However, Rivera's diagnosis was in early stage and went under a 7-week treatment regime. That includes 35 patron and therapist appointments with 3 cycles of physiotherapy, although Rivera missed a total of 3 practices. He lost over 30 pounds and 40 kilograms. Halftime, some games received fatigue campaign known as Regina Strong by organized to support the team. As Rivera Strong organized the team support Rivera, and he was considered cancer-free in late January 2021. On April 21st, 2021, Rivera donated $100,000 to Rich Run charity event where St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, where he later was rewarded the 2000 George House Award for the Pro NFL Players Rider for America, where he was dealt. In April 2022, Rivera, the Washington speaker, Peru as speaker as 2024. Rivera has worked for analysts on ESPN, ESPN Live for second game for Chairwood. But now we're going to go back to the past. Finally, the moment that we've been waiting for, his NFL career. Sit tight, because we're going to go back to 1985. Are you ready? We're going to go back to 1985. Rivera select in the second round of 1984, along with the NFL draft by the Chicago Bears, playing for them as a rotational lining back and special teamer. In 1985, Rivera became the first American of Puerto Rico descent to win a Super Bowl when the Bears defeated the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl 20. Rivera was named the team's Man of the Year in 1988 and named with the Ed Block Courage Award. Presented of the following year, Rivera played in 9 seasons before retiring after 1992 season, recording 392 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 6 fumble recoveries, 9 interceptions, and 137 games alone. He had an interesting history with the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears would not have been successful if he was not on that roster.